Good morning, boys and girls. Thanks for coming back to hear the second half of Mr. Peabody's Apples. A little while later, Billy found Tommy and told him what had happened with the apples. He told Tommy that Mr. Peabody wanted to speak to him right away. So off Tommy ran, and when he arrived, he rang the doorbell, and Mr. Peabody came to the door. How do you think he was feeling, boys and girls? Scared? That's how I would feel. Scared. How would you feel? Mr. Peabody came to the door. They looked at each other for a while. "Oh dear, Mr. Peabody," said Tommy on the doorstep. I didn't understand. I should not have said what I said, but it looked like you hadn't paid for the apples." Mr. Peabody's eyebrows went up a little. And he felt a warm breeze across his face. "It doesn't matter what it looked like," he said. "What matters is the truth." There's the lesson, boys and girls. We always need to tell the truth. Tommy looked down at his shoes and said, "I'm sorry. What can I do to make things better now?" Mr. Peabody took a deep breath, looked up at a small cloud that was in the sky and said, "I'll tell you what. Tommy, meet me at the baseball diamond in 1 hour and bring a pillow stuffed with feathers." "Okay," said Tommy, who then ran off to his host to get a pillow. Boys and girls, why do you think he's going to get a pillow and take it to the baseball field, baseball diamond? Does anybody have any predictions? Well, what do you think they're going to do with the pillow at the baseball diamond? It's kind of big to play baseball with. Let's continue to read and find out. An hour later, Tommy met Mr. Peabody on the pitcher's mound. "Hello, Tommy," said Mr. Peabody. "Follow me and bring your pillow." Tommy followed Mr. Peabody to the top of the bleachers, wondering what this was all about. Tommy's confused. He doesn't know what to think. "It's a windy day, isn't it?" asked Mr. Peabody when they reached the top. Tommy nodded his head in agreement. It is a windy day. "Here's a pair of scissors." A pair of scissors? "Now cut the pillow in half and shake the feathers out." Tommy looked confused, but he did it anyways. He thought it was a small price to pay to gain Mr. Peabody's forgiveness. The wind carried the thousands of feathers far and wide. Boys and girls, do you have any idea why Mr. Peabody is doing this? What is he trying to teach Tommy? What do you think Mr. Peabody is trying to teach Tommy? He had a perfectly fine pillow. He cut it in half. The wind is blowing, so the wind is blowing all of the feathers all over the baseball field. Let's continue to read. First, I'll show you a picture. This is actually the picture on the front of the book as well. So we can see, we have a visual. We've heard it, now we can see it. Tommy looked relieved and said, "Is that all I have to do to make things better?" "There is one more thing," said Mr. Peabody. "Now you must go and pick up all of the feathers." There looked like there was a million feathers there. Tommy frowned. "I don't think that's possible to pick up all the feathers," Tommy replied. It would be just as impossible to undo the damage that you have done by spreading the rumor that I am a thief, said Mr. Peabody. Each feather represents a person in Happyville. So Miss B's going to stop right there just for a minute, and we're going to talk about this. So when we say a rumor about somebody, or say something that's not true about somebody, and somebody else tells somebody else, and by the end of the day, a whole group of people have heard this story that's not true. How are you ever going to stop the rumor? Would it be possible to pick up all of the feathers, boys and girls? Would it be possible to go and tell every single person that the rumor wasn't true? Or that the story, the lie that you told wasn't true? No. That's why, boys and girls, it's very important that we always only tell the truth. Let's continue to read. There was a long pause as Tommy began to understand what Mr. Peabody was saying. Finally, he said, I guess I have a lot of work ahead of me. Mr. Peabody smiled and said, Indeed you do. Next time, don't be so quick to judge a person, and remember the power of your words. Then he handed Tommy the shiny red apple and made his way home. So the power of our words. Boys and girls, what does that mean? That means that our words, the things that we say, they're very, very powerful. So for example, you could be really kind and say something like, Mom, that's a beautiful sweater you have on. Or Dad, that hat looks awesome on you. Those are kind words. Very kind words that make people feel good. What does Miss B always say at school? Oh, that made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. But we can also use mean words too, boys and girls, and say mean things to people like, your shoes are ugly, or you need to brush your hair. Those are mean, hurtful words, boys and girls. And sometimes we say them and we don't even realize how hurtful they are. We always need to be careful, boys and girls, about what we say. Remember, try to be kind and happy. The end. It looks like in this picture, he was able to pick up all of the feathers and he sewed them up. He felt good because he did what was right. He listened to Mr. Peabody and he understood what Mr. Peabody was saying. Thank you for reading today. Have a great day, boys and girls. There is a lesson to follow this.